Hi, this is Michelle Kerr, author of Brave Shift 30 Mindset Changes to Transform Your Life. I just had the most fun conversation with Kim Sorrelle. Please tune in and check us out.
Welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you are here. You are going to be so happy you're here. I'm Kim Sorrelle. I'm a speaker, I'm a writer. I get to do so many fun things in life, but my favorite thing to do by far is to meet people, and I get to meet some incredible people. And today, you are going to love, love, love the guest that I have on. Dr. Michelle, she's incredible in every single way. She's resilient. She's been through so much and has a smile on her face, which is remarkable. But she went from being a physical therapist to a coach and has helped so many people. And she's going to help us out today. So I'm so happy to have her. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kim. What a true pleasure. You just have so much great energy and your guests are so much fun. I really enjoy listening to you.
Yeah, well, thanks. Thanks. I was telling you before we went on air, I was listening to a few things that you've been on, and you blow me away, and you're going to blow everybody away. But we're going to start at the beginning here. Michelle, you grew up in Wisconsin, I believe, right?
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, so I'd love for you to tell us about 8-year-old Michelle.
Oh my gosh. Oh, she's a little spitfire.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And she really started being like having finding her fire at 5. At 5, I told my mom I was going to be my own boss. I was going to be here to make the world a better place, and I was going to have a twin sister. Um, and all of those came through. Only my twin sister is 17 years younger than me. Um, so when I was 8, that would be your grade school, and my parents sent me to a Catholic school. Uh, but not the Catholic school that everyone in the neighborhood went to. So I was there, not only did I really not know anyone too well, but then they put me in a school where I knew no one. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So crazy. And I was always like the tiniest one. So I would sort of joke I was the runt of the litter. Um, and it was interesting. I just kind of didn't fit in for a while. And there was a couple girls there that were bullies, and so I had to find my voice and stand on my own early, and be able to put the bad words and the adversity and the meanness aside. And I think, the good thing of being exposed to that is you just see how mean is so mean. And it has not had nothing to do with me. Like really, truly, there was no way it could have anything to do with me.
Mm. Yeah, you know what's so hard about that though is you don't necessarily know that when you're a kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I sure don't understand the bullying thing. I wish kids could just be nice to other kids. I mean, there's so many people that are so scarred through their whole life. They don't get over it after being bullied in elementary school or middle school or high school. And I just wish there was a way, but it just doesn't seem to be something that gets taken care of somehow. I don't know. But yeah, being bullied, not knowing anybody, neither one of those things are easy. But you made it through somehow. So that was
Yeah.
grade school. Did you continue in Catholic school through junior high and high school?
So my grade school went kindergarten through 8th grade. And then ninth grade, so in the town I grew up, ninth grade would be the start of Catholic high school or the last year of middle school. And so my parents let me choose. They were like, "Do you want to go to public school or would you like to continue on in Catholic school?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, let me out." And I had friends that were in the public system, and I really loved them, and I just wanted to be with them, because I guess it was just tough being in Catholic school, and so yeah, so I made the switch, and went from the I had a graduating class of like 6 or 8 or something like that to this huge junior high school. So it was like going from knowing everyone and all the things to knowing no one again, and or barely knowing anyone again. And that was a lot of fun because it was the first time I realized that I could be whoever I wanted. whatever the stories that the Catholic school kiddos made up about me, if they weren't true, I didn't have to bring those forward.
Wow. Yeah, that's so interesting. You know, it's so funny. So I went to a public school, our Catholic school. Our church had blown down at the time. The school blew down. Yeah, there was a tornado. And so it was only sixth through eighth grade. So
Yeah.
I went to public through fifth, and then sixth through eighth grade, I was at Catholic school, and then went to a public school in high school and had the same thing. Thought this place is so gigantic, and I hardly know anybody, even though I knew some kids from elementary school. Still, it was giant, and I didn't know all these people, and it was overwhelming at first, but I loved it. It was so fun. But it is. It's like this time of reinvention. It's a time that you can go, nobody really knows me here, and whatever people thought about me before, they're not here anymore to be thinking things of me, and so you can just let loose and be you. And I love it that happened for you. So high
Yeah.
school was fun.
It was good. Yeah, I was a runner, so I ran cross country and track, and I happen to be a very good runner. So that was cool because now all of a sudden I'm in the spotlight. It was my high school was very Friday Night Lights. If you were an athlete, you were like, oh, yeah, everything was good and great and all that. And so it was fun. And like every high school. I don't know anyone that walks out of high school going, oof, that was piece of cake. So there was all the normal teenage angsty challenges. But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of pride for being able to run for my school and the friends I made that were just seeing it, like world just kept getting bigger.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you were in school, by the way, my Catholic education was fabulous. And so I always felt like it carried me all the way through high school. Like it was so good. I don't know if you felt the same. Like, was high school, do you think, easier for you because you went to Catholic school, or don't you think it made a difference?
I don't know. I think our school system was good, like we're good all the way around. So there wasn't a huge, I don't think and, as you say that, I don't think I noticed a discrepancy between like it sort of flowed through well. Like I had
Yeah.
great teachers in high school, like great, really passionate teachers that were like, they were so into teaching. It was really fun to be a part of it. It was fun to learn from them because they were fun in how they taught.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's what you want in teachers. There's so many good teachers. And
Yeah.
it's amazing the impression that they leave on you, a lifelong impression. And so go teachers. Shout out
Yeah.
to you. I mean, it's an amazing career and sacrifice. And thanks for what you do, all the teachers out there. So, did you always know what you wanted to be after, where you wanted to go?
No, 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 not even a little. So growing up, being like, I'm going to be my own boss, I had an interest in fashion. And so the younger version of me thought I would be in fashion merchandising or designing clothes and I really wanted to have like a little kid clothing store. And then in high school, I was taking a marketing class and the teacher was not a very nice guy. Of all the teachers, like there was one that I was like, "Eh," and that was him. And he played favorites, and if you weren't a favorite, it didn't matter what you did. Um, so I was conflicted because I thought that being a traumatic 17-year-old, oh, this is what all business people were like, instead of realizing there was a bigger thing. But at the same time, I tore my Achilles tendon. So
Oh,
it like essentially ended my running career temporarily, like put it on a big pause. And this physical therapist is helping me walk again and then run again. And this marketing teacher is kind of a jerk. And so then I was like, well, I don't want to be around business people. I'm going to go into healthcare. Uh, and so I became an athletic trainer and I started so after school and I started my first job. I was like, "Ooh, no, like my belly's like, you're still your own boss. Like you're still an entrepreneur." Um, and so I was torn because it was like, well, I just went through all this school. What do I do? So I went back to school to get my doctorate in physical therapy so I could open my own practice. So then I could blend healthcare and business. And that's what that's how I got to having a physical therapy practice. It was totally 100% by accident.
Yeah. So did you love it? How was that for you?
I did. We have I had like so many staff that were amazing and the ups and downs of business and that sort of thing. Well, we fixed dizziness and balance disorders and we were kind of some of the first on the scene doing it. So in the 16 years of practice, I think we had, I don't know, something like 100,000 people or about that, just a guesstimate that came through our doors. Sometimes save people more than once, but like we were able to impact so many lives. And what's fun is I actually still get text messages from patients that are like, I'm so grateful for you. Like there's this
Oh,
one sweet patient that I saw one time and he is and his wife are just so grateful. She's like, you gave me my husband back. And he's like, you gave me my life back. And so it was just such a really cool, rewarding place to be and things to do and to help students. And, like it was great.
yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. I'm glad that that was so good for you. And it's amazing. You must have been excellent at it because for patients to still to this day be calling you out, that's amazing. But so why did you transition away from that then?
It's tough to run a business. Like there was, I mean, at one point I think I had, 15, 16 employees plus interns and all of that. I had 5 locations at one time and then down to one. So I would scale and scale back and scale up and scale back, kind of like whatever the market called for. And it was really in 2020, I don't know if you recall, there was a virus situation that kind of obliterated life.
There was.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
And so people that I knew either worked not at all or were back working like grind of like 90 hours a week. Well, I was in the latter and it was just tired. I mean, it was just tired. And then the state of Chicago and everything else that happened that year, I just needed a break. I needed an out. I was like, this business is turning 16. It should get its license, start driving, go get a job, like go do its own thing. And yeah, so and I had an opportunity to sell it, and um, that was an interesting experience. But then also like, it just gave me another thing of going, okay, now what? Like that is all wrapped up in a bow, and now I've got some financial freedom, and I have some time freedom, and who am I and what do I really want? Because in the beginning, like I said, it was like healthcare wasn't my jam. It just happened. And so it was wonderful that it happened, but I'm like, where am I in all of this?
Right, right, right. Well, and it wasn't the only thing you had going on at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you had cancer, breast cancer. When were you first diagnosed?
2007, 2008, 2021, and then 2023, 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So four times.
Yeah.
So in 2007, you went what for a mammogram or you felt something or how did that
Yeah,
happen?
it was a wild time. So I was married at the time, and I knew it wasn't a good thing. My business was turning a year old, and so I was heading out with some friends to be like, hey, let's have whatever Friday night, Saturday night. We'll make up a date. I don't recall the exact date. And I went and I like was adjusting, how you do your last check before you walk out the house, and I felt this lump, and I took off my shirt, and I was like, oh, that's so bad. That's so bad. And I made an appointment with my doctor, my internal medicine doctor, and she did not like seeing my name on her schedule because anything normal, for all intents and purposes, I could handle myself, right? Like being in
Mhm.
healthcare. So if I was on her schedule, it mean it was like something much bigger. And so she kind of helped me drive the bus and navigate the first round biopsies and chemotherapy and all of that sort of thing. Yeah.
What kind of breast cancer was it?
It was stage 2B, ERPR positive.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you had to go through the gamut, through chemo, through whatever. Do you have surgery too?
Yeah, surgery and the biopsies, and then I had an elective double mastectomy because I was like, that seemed like the biggest, best insurance policy of all.
Hmm.
Um, Only to find out within the year that I had stage 4, it had come back.
Hmm. Oh
Uh,
my word.
yeah, and so that was figuring that out about what to do because there wasn't really a reason for me to get cancer the first time, let alone the second time. And so people were baffled. Like, what do we do? And chemotherapy was so hard on me that I actually stopped breathing. So they were like, well, that won't work because your body hasn't recovered. And so went through radiation, after many opinions and things like that.
Wow. Wow. Which radiation isn't a cakewalk either, right? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
it's differently exhausting. Like it was really that was in some ways, and I don't know if it was maybe like the stage of life I was at, well, also like getting a second diagnosis so soon, but it felt harder to go through than chemo.
You
Like,
know, talking about a second diagnosis, it's interesting, right? I mean, there could be an easy assumption that, well, if you've been diagnosed once, well, now you know what to expect or whatever, a second time. But I'll tell you, I had not that, not a second chance with cancer, but I had my oldest, my daughter had grand mal seizures and which was hard, obviously. But then a couple years into dealing with her seizures, I had a son who had a seizure. And you would think, oh, well, second time, now you know what to deal with, whatever. No, it was more devastating, I think, the second time because it's like, how can this happen again? And so I can imagine. That must have been kind of maybe your thought process. Like, you got to be kidding me. I just went through all this, and now again, this is what you're telling me that had to be so awful.
yeah, it was the rug was pulled out from under me. And the first time I was very vocal and very out in the world and very much like, no problem. This is what cancer looks like. Cancer is not contagious. Like we'll just get through it, rally the team. I talked for my friends' charities. Like I did all these things. And then the second one was, just a punch to the heart, to the gut, and just not really sure even how to navigate that. You know,
How did you navigate that?
Oh gosh. I went for many, second opinions. I always joke, I'm like 6 second opinions.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's not really a second opinion. I'm like, yeah, it's that. And so then, and I also had to figure out, like, is this worth fighting? Like, is this bigger than me and all of that? And so I became much more introspective and much more inward, and I didn't tell as many people. And I just had to do that journey, a much more solo walk. Certainly had friends and family around, but it was a more personal solo journey.
Mm. Yeah, there's something about it, I would think that would make you feel a little defeated.
Yeah,
Because they call it a battle for a reason, right? I mean, you are fighting it. Like you get to pick, are you going to fight this thing? Or are you going to say, forget it, it's cancer, whatever, just let it,
yeah,
whatever, take me away. I don't know. But you have to fight it. It takes a lot of fortitude to go to the all the appointments and to go and get all the treatments and to feel like crap and to lose your hair and all the stuff that goes with it and the recovering from surgery and whatever it is a battle, you are fighting it. And to think you won, you're at the end of it and you won, only to find out there's another war happening, brewing, and here it comes. I can't imagine, Michelle. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. That's so hard. So, how long was that journey then?
so that was all of 2009 by the time I saw the different doctors and I traveled around to them and figuring out what treatment should be and then doing the treatment. And so 2010 was quite honestly a blur. because I was just like, oh my gosh, what in the heck happened? I went from just married and excited and family planning to divorce, like you said, bald to, like all these other things. I'm like, what in the world is going on?
No kidding. No kidding. Hopefully you can't hear the man right outside my door who
Yeah.
is weed whipping or whatever it is that he's doing right now. But yeah, that I can't think of words to even put to that because it had to be so hard.
Yeah.
But you did get through it, and then you got the all clear, and things were great for a number of
Yeah.
years.
And again, it's like kind of just rebuilding my life and figuring out like again that like invitation to restart. Right. Like and that's really the thing that I've noticed like throughout my life was the pattern of like we all have these invitations to restart or do over or do not like we can go change the past, but like certainly there's so many things that we can do to say, all right, well, that didn't work, so what if? And you know hey, I'm about to go and you guys can see the storm brewing. You're like, well, do I run headlong into it or do I assess the whole situation and then go into it?
Mm. Yeah, so true. So true. It's like we have these chapters in life. I think everybody has. It doesn't have to be as drastic as your chapters, Michelle. Like
Yeah.
you've had some huge chapters, but we do. We have these times when it's like, okay, so now what? So now
Yeah.
what? And I think sometimes people get stuck and they feel like they don't have a choice and can get stuck in a job they don't like or in a life they don't like or surrounded by people they don't like or whatever it is and think that, well, how do I restart now? Where do I go from here? Because this has been this long. I've already devoted this much time to this. How do I possibly make a big switch? But you can. You can, anybody can make a switch. Like life should be happy and great. Like there should be a lot more joy in life than sadness in life. And so if you're in a place where you're not happy, things aren't the way they should be, or there's some sort of a natural transition, like you leave a job because it's time to leave that job, or you retire, or I don't get a divorce, whatever it happens to be, some big moment in life where you're faced with this, that you can decide. You get to pick. Like to me, it's an exciting time. Like now what? Like you get to pick what you're gonna do now. So a little tougher when you're going through an illness, and that is what creates your next chapter. I mean, that's not how you want to do it. You want to try to choose it if you can.
Yeah.
But you did get through it. You're so resilient. So you did get through it, and then it felt good, and then you're figuring out life because so many transitions all at once. And then you kind of had some smooth sailing for a minute. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's certainly the ups and downs of business, like the business side of things was like chaos. But you said something earlier I would like love to like not skip over when you were said, like being forced to have all those changes in life because of the adversity that was the cards I was dealt, or however you want to say that. And honestly, I really think that when your life is going day to day, nothing's really, really all that wrong, but you're unhappy. I think that's the harder time to make the shifts.
Mm.
I didn't have a choice. It was okay, this is a life or death thing. You like figure it out or you don't. But it's the times when it's like, I'm just sort of not happy in this job or this relationship or my life or where I live or whatever, that you're like, it becomes the unknown of what happens if I change. That like if I stay the same, I know I'm not fulfilled, but like if I change, could it get worse? Or what would happen or whatever. And it's harder to see that other side. It's hard to have courage to act when things are okay, not great, but okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm glad that you went back to that because it's so true. It can be really tough. It's one thing when life makes you change. You get fired, you get a divorce, you get an illness that alters your life. it is different when you're floating through life and you're waking up every day and there's no big catastrophe, nothing huge happening, but yet you have this unsettled feeling or this unhappy feeling and thinking that life can't be better. Like this is what you get. This is the hand you've been dealt. And I think we're on the same page with that, that there's never a this is your hand that's been dealt. Like you have the power to decide. You get a choice. There are choices in life and you get to choose. I mean, it's one of the beauties of this country that we live in is there are so many choices. I was just in San Diego. Right now I'm in Florida. Next week I go back to Michigan and I get to pick. I get to pick where I want to live, where I want to be. And for some people, it's harder than others. But at the same time, I think anybody, if you really think about it, you have a choice to make a change if you want to make a change.
Yeah, agreed. It's like it reminded me of that like old Kenny Rogers song. You're like these playing cards, like you know when to hold them, when to fold them, know when to run. Yeah,
Right. Little Kenny Rogers. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, so true. And with jobs as well. Like I've been in toxic situations. I've always been an entrepreneur. So hopefully I've never had a toxic situation at work. Created one. I mean that certainly wasn't ever a goal. Like I think uh for the most part things were pretty darn good at work. But I know people who have been in just toxic work situations and nobody has to live in that. Like if you're
Yeah,
being disrespected, if you're not being admired for the work that you're doing, then something might be wrong with that. That might not be the place for you. And it's okay if it's not. It's okay to make a change. And so, either making a change where you're at and stand up and say, hey, this isn't the way I'm gonna come in every day. Like I don't want to dread coming to work. So what can we do to change it? Or look around and see what else is out there. We're at such an interesting moment with AI that who knows what's going to happen. But we've been through transitions like this before, right? When computers, I had a golf course, one of the businesses I had, and in the 70s, like in the late 70s, there was a golf course owners conference. I wasn't there. I didn't have my course yet, but they were saying, "Oh, you're in the right business. You are in the right business to be in golf because there's these things coming. We've got these great big huge computers that they had big rooms for, whatever they had to be clean. And but then people are going to actually have computers in their homes and computers on their desk at work. And when that happens, computers are going to do so much that people are only going to have to work like 4 days a week, 3 days a
yeah.
week. So they're going to be golfing, 3 or 4 days a week. So what a great business to be in. And the opposite happened. We ended up working more hours than we worked before, which I still don't quite understand how the metrics of that all panned out, but that is what happened. And so here we are again, another big transition with AI. And so it's a good time to kind of take stock and go, well, am I happy doing what I'm doing? Because now there's so many opportunities to do something different if you want to do something different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like there's so much and it is amazing because even like as I go into everyone's like, well, what's your next step? And I'm like, well, I think part of it is I'm going to let it evolve because there things are changing so fast. And what do we even need anymore? Like
Right.
we need that personal interaction. So I miss that personal interaction. So I want it to revolve around that. And that's why I do my coaching and things because I love to be have these conversations with you and talk about more like when you say golf course, I'm like, ooh, I want to dig in and learn more. Like, let's go have coffee. So, but it's that personal side of things that I think is so important that we need to figure out how to bring back and incorporate more of into our lives.
Oh gosh, isn't that so true? It's so true. I mean, that's what makes life is the personal interactions, the friendships and COVID certainly took a lot of community away from us. And so it's time to rebuild and get back into community. I mean, it's been time. And then in 2020, you were diagnosed again.
Yeah. It was 2021. I got
Oh,
sick.
2021.
Yeah, yeah. I got sick the end of 2020 that we figured out was probably COVID, but it was like we were doing all the temperature checks and all that other stuff, but I had no signs other than being tired. I was just really, really tired, which of course I look back and go like, well, did you see 2020? Of course I'm tired. You know?
Yeah.
Um, and then in 2021, I started to have this cough and the cough that wouldn't go away and it kept getting worse. And I just was like, oh my gosh. I kept going to my doctor and she kept saying, oh no, it's nothing. It's nothing. You don't deal with stress well. And I'm like, that's not a true statement. And don't ever say that to a woman.
Mhm.
So I chose to get a new doctor who, long story short, advocated really well. And we found out that not only did I have cancer again, it was everywhere. It was in my bones, it was in my lungs, it was in my lymph nodes. It was to a place where I didn't think I would see 2022.
Oh, my word. Wow.
And that was like, whoa. And so I was like, well, I need to get my affairs in order. So the official diagnosis came the end of July. I was like, well, I need to get my affairs in order. And so this is when I started estate planning and figuring out, where things go and where they'll end up going and what to do with my business. And I was like, I need to get out of this. Like, I really, really just need to like cut out all the stress that I can cut out. And, again, like the joke of it being 16 and, get it finding its own way and all that.
Mhm.
And so that's what I did. And then moved down here to Florida after I sold. Because I was like, I want to be in sunshine. I just miss sunshine all the time. So took my dog and moved to Florida.
Wow. Wow. That's a big move.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah. And do you love it? Was it a good
I
move?
do. It is. Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I need to remind myself, like, just like everyone, get outside, get in nature, like stress is a lot of times stress is a choice. It doesn't feel like that, but it really is. And put me first and continue to put me first.
That is so interesting. I've never heard it put that way, that stress is a choice. I'd love for you to talk about that some more.
Yeah. Think about the things you get bummed out about or that freak you out or you get stressed out about. And then you're like, okay, most of it, what we'll throw a number out, 80, 85% isn't anything you could do about it anyway. It has nothing to do with you. Like we get stressed out about the politics or the things or the whatevers, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. You're like there, it's all manufactured to like create stress and fighting and fear. And you're like, wow, like what am I really in fear about? I woke up today, I have a roof over my head, I have food in the refrigerator, I have a cute dog that's funny as heck. Um, what? Like, what is all of that really how does that impact me day to day? And most of the things have almost no effect on us day to day, correct?
Right. So true.
You
So
know,
true. Oh my gosh, I love that you said that because that's absolutely so true. And I think a lot of times too, the things we're stressed about are things that we fear for the future.
yeah,
And most of those things are never going to happen.
right.
So why put your body through that, your mind through that? Why put yourself through that stress over something that likely is never going to happen? Or like you said too, that you can't change anyway, that there's
Yeah,
nothing you can do about anyway. Why stress about it? It's interesting in the political climate we're in. I do not watch the news. I my husband, when he was around, he died several years ago, but when he was here, he was a pessimist, I would say, and I'm an optimist. But he would say that he was a realist and that I live in La La Land, and I would say I like it here. I like
yeah,
it in La La Land. I'd rather be here. And I hear friends, like I get around different people who are into watching the news and much more current than I am. Like there's probably stuff I should know that I don't know, but they talk about it and they are stressed about it and what's going to happen. And I've got a son who's trying to become a Canadian citizen. And I mean, just all the stuff because of what's happening in the world. And I think, wow, we've been through so many times that people have stressed about, oh, my word, it's World War II. What's going to happen? We're all going to be communists. We're all going to be whatever. And all the stress. Well, it didn't happen. Praise the Lord. You know, things happened and it didn't happen. But we've been through stuff and are resilient and life goes on and we'll get through it. And I feel like that any day. And I don't know if it's because I'm older that my life has seen some cycles that when you're younger, maybe you haven't been through as much. And so you think, oh, this is the most devastating thing ever. Like, this is the biggest thing ever. And then after a while, you go, yeah, no, that was just another thing. And we
Right.
got through it. So yeah, it's interesting. But you do get to pick your stress, I guess. You do get to choose if you want to be stressed or not. And stress is kind of evil. Like it doesn't do nice things to you.
No, I actually was reading an article this morning about stress doesn't not just affect you mentally and emotionally, but actually physically, like your mitochondria, your powerhouses, the things that drive your body get affected. And so you're physically not well when you're under stress too. And as you were talking, I was reminded of like a trip that I was lucky enough to take a trip to India for a month, back a while back. And it's the southern tip of India in Kerala, and the soil is granite, and it's one of the few places on the planet that haven't had conflict like that far southwest. So it's this very grounded place, and it's really close to the equator. So it's basically 12 hours sun, 12 hours night, like every single day, year round. And it's always sunny, like the weather's always the same, like everything's pretty status quo. And I went on a tour and was seeing like these swastikas everywhere and all these things. And I was like, oh my gosh. And first I was like, fear came over me and I was like, well, what is this? And they're like, oh, yeah, sometimes our government is communist, sometimes it's parliaments, it doesn't affect us day to day. Like whoever's in power doesn't have any effect on us day to day. And I sat back and I thought about that and I was like, holy mackerel. What such an interesting and cool way to be like, yeah, like whatever the big deal of the day is, isn't. And these are such grounded people and they're so sweet. And because it's so nice there, Kim, it's that's what's shocking because they don't talk about the normal like pleasantries. They'll like met this gentleman and within 5 minutes he's looking at me. He goes, "You have pain on your heart. You should get rid of that."
Wow, that's not a normal Starbucks meet somebody conversation.
No, but how real and how
Yeah.
cool. And what if we started caring about the inside of the person that we're talking to instead
Mm,
of our surroundings that we have no control over?
mm. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah. If we could just see people for people and not for their politics, not for the color of their skin, not for their gender, not for anything else, but just we're all in this together and people are people all over the world. And so I love that. What a moment. That's pretty cool. I like that. So, India, I know people have gone to India and come back with a piece that they never had before. Did you get affected by how did your month there affect you?
Yeah, I put my phone on airplane mode for 28 days. And I limited myself to like for the first 2 weeks, I didn't connect to Wi-Fi. I did not connect. It was like I had some treatments, I meditated, I walked on the black sand beach, I walked around nature, I saw little cute goats running around all over the place and chickens and like come back to me, like get back into me, smell the flowers, see the sunrise, see the sunset, just slow it all down.
Mhm.
And it was. wonderful. I came back with, had written a ton and just meditated big meditations. And because there wasn't not much else to do, it was you go have tea with the locals and um, have a couple of treatments, but then meditate. I was meditating for like 2 to 4 hours a day, and it was beautiful. I don't somehow get to do that these days, and it's funny. I don't know why. Like we get kind of that was like one of the most beautiful times of my life, and then just like everything, we're all human and you get pulled into the day to day.
Right. Yeah, so true. So true. So you were there for treatments.
Yeah. It was like the Ayurvedic treatments and to do a really deep cleansing of my body and my spirit and all of that. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So then you got through cancer again, and then number four came along.
Yeah. In this one, I was sort of like, okay, this is just annoying now.
Kind of like a bad shoe that keeps turning up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, all right. I mean, something's awry. I haven't handled something in my life. So rather than go to war, how can I be at peace? And how can I walk this journey with it and figure out where is the unwell, the balance, the missing balance in my life that my body creates these tumors to protect itself. What is it protecting itself from? What am I protecting myself from? And what's the bigger deal? So this is definitely more of a like a mental, emotional, like I'm handling the physical side of things, but it's really bigger than that this round.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you wish that there were things that you would have known way back then that you now know?
Oh, of course. I mean, but isn't that anything in life? I mean,
Yeah.
hindsight 2020.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
So true. So right now, are you going through, how are you doing today, sitting here?
Uh, Doing holistic treatments. Yeah, like I am not in the traditional medical model. Really going, like I said, doing care for my body, supporting my immune system, supporting like where are the things that are, out of balance? How can I get back in balance for my life and for my body and my mind and my spirit?
And so how are you feeling? What's
Doing pretty good. I'm in like doing a very deep detox situation right now. So I'm exhausted and feel like I need to sleep a lot. So I'm like honoring the commitments that I've made. And then the rest of my time is rest and restore.
no, that's good. That's good that you're letting yourself do that.
Yeah,
Sometimes that can be a hard thing to do.
right.
Yeah, so that's good. So, holy cow. I don't know anyone who has been diagnosed with cancer four times and smiling. I don't know anyone who's been diagnosed with cancer four times, period. But the smiling part and the joy that I see in you and your eyes just sparkle. Like there is a inner peace, a joy that just exudes from you that would not necessarily be expected for someone who has been through what you've been through and are going through what you're going through.
Yeah. Well, our life's a choice. And in my opinion, it's courage is choosing to act even in the face of fear. So my goodness, what this means, like the fourth time cancer is like gut wrenching. And it is there's the depth of feeling that I do and have almost doesn't have words. And so, do I allow all of that to wash over me and get and succumb to it all? Or do I look and say, what is in my realm today that I can control, that I can do? What is something active that I can do to make myself feel better? And that active might be, okay, I'm resting on the couch right now, or I'm going to read and not look at a screen, or go for a walk, or something very, very simple, like going back to the simplicity of it all.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. That's probably good advice for everybody, for anybody. Like to take a step back and go, well, what would feel good for me right now?
Yeah.
What would make me feel better? And so that's good. Yeah. Holy cow. And then you wrote a book.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Wow. Well, that was a 10-year journey. Uh, and I never thought I would write a book. And it really came from people saying, you should write a book, you should write a book, you should tell your story, all of that. And I was like, yeah, yeah, but who'd want to read my book? Words, whatever. And then a friend of mine said, well, authors rarely write for other people. It's you write to get your story out for you. And whatever happens on the other side of it once it hits the stores is left out to the universe. So here you just do it as do it for yourself. And so I would write, I would get about 80% done and then get stuck and then put it aside. And I just kept doing that. And I had several book coaches, and one of them, Sam Horn, was wonderful. She's like, your book will come to fruition when it's ready. It's just like a birth. It will show up. Don't force it. And that gave me permission to really go, okay, what is it? What do I want? How do I want it to look? What is going to be of service to me and then maybe to others? And it's been such a fun journey. To it's the story of a lot of it is the story of my life. And I wrote it in a way that every chapter stands on its own. At the end of every chapter, there's like some shift moods that you can do. And so it's a fun read, I hope. There's the good, the bad, the other ugly. But it's all about making small things. So you don't have to change everything. It's about changing one thing or a few things that change everything.
I really like that too, Michelle. Like interviews that I've heard from you, that is a message that you carry through. And I think that's a game changer because I think so often, I mean, here we are, whenever you're listening to this, right now we're recording, it's the first of the year. And so a lot of people make New Year's resolutions, and sometimes it's a page of New Year's resolutions, and then kick themselves if they don't do everything on that page. And
Right.
one failure, and that's it. The whole list is gone. But you come from a place of, well, you don't have to do everything on the list. Pick one.
Yeah.
Do something. Do a little something every day. It doesn't have to be that much, and it can be as simple as breathing.
Yeah. Totally. Do a meditation. That's 2 minute long, whatever. But yeah, the people that make these big lists and have all these bigger aspirations, first and foremost, my dear, you are not that broken. Like you're not. You got to today. Good job. So pick one thing, just one thing. Like, and when I have my coaching clients, my businesses that are like, this is what we want to do in a year. And I'm like, okay, no, like, let's pick maximum three. If you have too many things, you cannot physically do life and make all these changes at the same time.
Right, right, right. Like there's some sort of a stopwatch that if you
Yes.
don't get that done by this time, like you said, it's taken 10 years to write your book. Well, if you would have said, I'm doing it in a year or I'm not doing it at all, it would never be out. It would never get published. It would never happen. And then it would never help you or never help anybody else. So give yourself some grace, and if it takes more time, it takes more time. It's okay, but that can be stressful too to have that kind of overwhelm and that put that kind of pressure on yourself to think you've got to do it all at once, or there's some magic timeline that if it's not done by a certain time, things are going to happen, and life doesn't always work that way.
Right. That's where I say stress is a choice.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It certainly
Like
is.
like
Yeah,
those
so
deadlines, are they yours or are they someone else's? Yeah.
right, right. So what is of all the advice you've been given through life, or that you've given through life, or from the things that you've learned, what are a couple biggest pieces of advice that you'd like to pass on?
One of my favorites is pay it forward. At no point could I go back in time or even go from this day forward and thank the people to the degree that they've helped me get to where I am. It couldn't. There's not enough money or time, whatever. So one of my mentors was like, you don't have to pay me back. You just have to pay it forward. So whenever you have an opportunity to help someone or give advice or do something for someone or something, do it. Because if we all just paid it forward, the world would be a better place.
Mm.
And he is such an influence in my life. I cannot even thank him enough. I mean, it's really helped me through some of the toughest times. And
Wow.
so when I would, in physical therapy, someone would come and that didn't have much, couldn't pay, I would be like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. And if someone comes to me and is like, I would like a coaching session, but I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out. Like, let's just figure it out together. Because if we have the intention of getting to the other side, there's always a solution.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I love the pay it forward. I love that. So, I did this year where I dedicated a year to figuring out the true meaning of love, the real meaning of love. And I used a 2,000-year-old poem, love is patient, love is kind, doesn't envy, does not boast, etc. And that's what love that is kind is really it's paying it forward. It's giving, being kind, doing kind things with zero expectation of getting anything in return. And it sounds like that's kind of what your mentor was saying is, yes, I've helped you this way, but you don't pay me back. Then extend that kindness, extend something to somebody else. And
Yeah.
I love that attitude. I love that because when you don't expect anything in return, you're never going to be disappointed. You're not setting yourself up for heartache, right? You just are kind because that's what love is. You just love because that's what love does. And don't worry. And then the whole pay it forward thing, I mean, that's just so beautiful because that's life. That's the way it should be is yeah, if somebody does something wonderful and kind for you, you don't have to pay them back. Let them just do their kindness, be kind, but then go be kind to somebody else. Go do something for somebody else. I think is a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, anything else? What other? So, pay it forward. That's a great one. The stress is your choice. That's a great one.
Reframe adversity. So, like, if you're going through something hard, like, take it and look at a mindset and say, is this an obstacle or an opportunity? Is this like, when in life have we learned from like the happy, jolly good times, right? Most of the time we learn when we skin our knee or we get bad news or something happens, right? Or that lost job or lost relationship or whatever the thing is, illness. Um, those are the times when we learn who we are and who our friends are and what does it take? What's my makeup? Where am I resilient? You know, we can endure so much more than we think we can. So figure out what's the gift and how is this troublesome time actually for me?
Mm. Yeah, so true. It is so true. I mean, those are the greatest times of learning for sure. When you're down in the trenches and going through some of the worst things in life and barely keeping your head above water and all the stuff, and you wonder if there's going to be a better day. And but that's when the learning happens, is when you're down there, when you're down low. And it also it's when you recognize, I think, the value of people because it's tough to go through things alone. It's so much better when there's somebody cheering you on or somebody helping you out or somebody saying, even just saying it'll get better, that you're
Yeah.
not going to be in this place forever. It's going to get better. Makes such a difference. And those are the times that you learn. Like, what do you think the biggest things you've learned from your cancer journey, from your horrible, long, stupid cancer journey?
I mean, it's teaching me presence
Mm,
and to get into relationship with my own body and to look at the people around me. Who is it that I surround myself with? And there's so many things I could go on and on and on, like how to find calm in the chaos. And, you know, not take things too seriously and just be here now. Today's a gift.
Mm, that's so good. That's so good. And that's something that's so easy to overlook, right? It can be just so easy to not think about when life is just kind of floating along. When you get walloped with something, that's when you go, wow, yeah, today is a gift. Or you lose somebody and you go, oh man, puts things into perspective, what's really important and what's true and what's real and who your friends are. That's a big deal. You know, who do you surround yourself with? They say you're the sum of the five people that you spend the most time with, right?
Yeah.
And so if you think about that and think about who it is that you do spend time with, who are the people, who are your people, and are they the right ones? Because it can be difficult to end a friendship or to walk away from a relationship can be very difficult, but sometimes it's the greatest gift you can give yourself if it's
Yeah.
somebody that's bringing you
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Gift to you, it's gift to them. Like it's a gift, like no matter what, when you stand for who you are and what you believe, you can't go wrong.
right, right. And honestly, when I was learning about love, that's one thing that I learned about love is sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk out of a relationship.
Yeah.
Because when you stay in a relationship that's toxic or that's not doing you any good, chances are it's not doing them any good either. And so if you stay in it, you're not giving them a chance to change and grow and reinvent and figure stuff out. You're making a situation where they're gonna stay where they're at because everything around them is the same. And so walking away from a relationship can be the most loving thing that you can do for yourself and for them.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
so, yeah, so it's all right to figure it out and figure out who you should be with because
Yeah.
that's important. So how do you see your life? Like what is happening in Michelle world that is really bringing you joy these days?
Oh, I love getting out in nature here. Like there's so much. Like we have beaches and we have mangroves and we have this I went to this mangroves the other day and while I was there I saw two gigantic owls and alligators and otters, like literally otters just swimming along and all these beautiful birds and like the vegetation down here is so lush. It's a joke and not like everything grows in Florida. Like you cut off the top of your pineapple and you just stick it in the ground and a pineapple will grow. And so just being there and then really treasuring the people that I love the most. Whether it's my cute neighbor Bev down the way or, meeting new friends or whatever it is, like all these, there's so many opportunities.
There are. I think people get hung up on that a bit because I hear people say often, oh, it's so hard to meet people. It's so hard to make friends. It's so hard to, well, it is really hard when you're sitting on your couch watching Netflix. Then
Yeah,
it's really hard to meet people, really hard to make friends. But there are opportunities. There's meetup, there's community events, there's concerts in the park,
yeah,
whatever. If you put yourself out there, you're going to meet people. If you allow yourself the time to do it, you're going to meet people. And I think that's what the world's all about, right? Friendships and relationships and whatever. So cool. Michelle, this has been great. It has been a pleasure talking to you. And I do love who you are. I do love just seeing that beautiful sparkle in your eye and your attitude and your joy and your positivity is contagious and it's wonderful. And so how can people get in touch with you?
you can hop on my website, michellekerr.com. You fill out a form. What's been really fun is people are filling out that form and they're telling me about them and what they're going through. And oh my gosh, like I'm so excited to meet people that just want to share their story. So fill out my little form and tell me what's up. Like it once the book comes out, tell me what shift move you liked or didn't like, of course. Like not everything's gonna work for everyone. You can find me on Insta and Facebook and LinkedIn and all the socials.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
This has
you.
been wonderful. I'm glad that I have a new friend. I do wish that you lived next door and we could just go have coffee whenever we wanted to, go for a walk. That would be so great. So maybe when I'm in Florida sometime, even though you're 3 hours away, maybe we can get together. I would love to meet you in person. You're amazing. Thank
Uh,
you for what you're doing in the world and how you're sharing and how you're putting yourself out there and the people that you're helping. You are amazing. So thank you so much.
oh my gosh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. This has been beautiful, Kim.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you everybody for being with us today. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. Michelle's fabulous and follow her, go to her website and fill out the form. You'll be happy that you did. And I just want to say, until we see each other again, I just pray that you keep your heart open and you live your love loud.